What's up, everybody? Welcome to another comic character of the week. As always, I am your host, Jamie. With me are the guys that you're always used to. First up, we got none other than the epic collection himself, the slab guy slash fairy, Sal Rowe. How are we doing, buddy?
All right, man. How you guys doing?
Yeah.
You can find me at on YouTube under Sal's Comic Corner and Instagram, the Slab Guy 77.
We have the artist formerly known as Dan Kelly. He is not in a closet today. He's actually in his basement.
You can find me on Instagram at Dan Kelly Art. Just search hashtag Dan Kelly Art. My stuff will come up. I post at least 3 times a week, art and music, and I'll be putting up the inked version of the Adam Warlock drawing I did tomorrow. So check it out. And then we got this guy right over here.
The one, the true Cyclops. His optic beam is not working at the moment because of, age.
Performance issues.
That's it.
Hey, after a certain age,
There's a pill for that.
Hey guys, created a group over on Facebook called Comic Character of the Day, where you could come and check it out. We feature a different character, cover, something funny, and question, news, anything relevant to this geekery that we all love. We're close to 500 members, and when we get to that point, we're going to be doing a giveaway for all this stuff that we love, comic geekery. If you want to come and check it out, join up. We can get this going and send it out. And we'd love to have you come and check it out and join up and have you and let you guys be had. That being the case,
yes, we would love to have you.
That sounded so wrong. We just had that pause. We'd love to have you.
Come on down. Come on.
But you know where else we'd love to have you? Right here at the Codex Station. Guys, go check out the codexstation.com, your one-stop shop for everything Codex. Get some merch, meet the team, talk to us, let us know what you like, don't like. Got a new limited shirt coming out here soon that I'm very, very proud of, that I worked hard on this morning, and someone's like, the font is too small, which wasn't the final product.
Maybe that person was just suggesting something.
You know what? I suggest videos of unboxings that are under 20 minutes of my life. But when you got a 33-pound box, I can't help it.
But who watched it? But who watched the whole thing?
I'll be right with you.
So, yeah, guys, go check that out. Also, if you have not had the chance yet, go check out Sal's epic unboxing from Heroscornercomics, guys. These guys are amazing. They package well. I've gotten so much from them so far. Not as much as Sal, obviously, because, money.
He bought every issue of Venom that they have.
Yeah, no, he bought every issue of Venom anyone's ever had. But guys, they ship quick. They're great people. They're willing to work with you. So definitely go check them out at Heroes Corner Comics, and we'll be seeing more about them today in the middle of our show. So with that being said, guys, again, welcome to Comic Character of the Week. And this week we are going over Cyclops. And with that being said, Dan, tell us more about him.
All right, well, Cyclops made his first appearance with the rest of the original X-Men all the way back in X-Men #1 in September 1963, created by the greats Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. His origin is that he was orphaned with his younger brother Havoc after their parents were seemingly killed in an airplane crash, which then turned out that they were abducted by the Shi'ar. And later on, he met his father, the space pirate Corsair. Him and his brother were separated in orphanages, and he ran away after his powers started to manifest, and he was living on the street. And then Professor X found him, brought him into the academy, made him his first X-Man. His power is that he fires extremely powerful blasts of energy from his eyes that can only be contained by his ruby quartz glasses or visors, and they are concussive blasts of energy and not like a heat vision type of thing. As people make the mistake sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Awesome. Well, with this character, there's always those moments that these characters work best in. And with that being said, Kevin, what's a scenario that you believe Cyclops works best in?
I think that when he's leading a team in the heat of battle, I think that when he has time to question himself, when there's times the lulls in the action, I think is where he begins to fall apart. Like I don't think he knows what to do with himself. He's uncomfortable just existing without being on the front lines, leading a team. Free time is Scott's downfall, I would say. But yeah, in the front lines where he's actually like leading a team, I think is where the character is at his best. What do you think, Sal?
So I've got 3 points on this. I think he works best when because he's like a master technician and strategist. So you kind of mentioned that, and I'll give one example of this is when he could do he did the pool table shot by sinking all the balls in by just hitting one shot off his from his visor, and he's got that spatial awareness which he uses to his advantage. He could ricochet his eye beams off of anything, and which is pretty cool. And also, I think being an expert pilot has to come into this. It's like any type of flying vehicle, he's always been like the master of control of. Like there was like hardly anyone that meets his match when flying. So I think those three, and of course, being a team leader obviously works best for him. How about you, Dan? What do you think?
Yeah, I definitely agree with the leadership aspects. Like you guys said, Kevin made a good point. He just, it's shown over the years, he just is incapable of living a life away from leading a team. When he stepped away from the X-Men, and he was married Madeline and had a kid, and he just couldn't stay away. He had to come back to the team. The same thing with X Factor, and just he has to, because for the majority of his life, he was orphaned, and then he was, living on the streets and didn't know what to do. And Professor X took him in and changed his life. Like he does, he is completely dedicated to, to Professor X's dream, and just doesn't know what to do away from there.
Right.
So yeah, and I think like his tactical skills, when they show that too, it's great. There was this scene in Uncanny X-Men 495 when him and White Queen were vacationing. Sal knows what it is. When him and White Queen were vacationing in
Savage
Land, and they're hanging out with Kazar and Shauna, and they see these dinosaurs fighting, and they're just talking about that, and White Queen is talking to Shauna, and she says, look at him, watch what he's doing. And she says, yeah, he's studying them. And then White Queen's kind of like looking in his mind, and she says, you should see it from inside his head. He's analyzing their power and their attacks, and at the same time, he's figuring out how he would take them down if he had to fight them. And I think that's kind of, since he's so used to being a team leader, that's kind of how he looks at everything in life, is whatever situation he's in, he's just looking at it like, all right, what are the strengths, what are the weaknesses? If I had to, what would I do in this situation to win? What do you think, Jamie?
I gotta agree with Kevin. As a leader, it's unstoppable. Like that's where he fits the mold and everything. And coming from him basically standing up as the leader for the X-Men A versus X, to Captain America, and basically call him fascist.
It's his whole identity is being the leader of the X-Men.
Yeah. I mean, there's reasons he does, there are other reasons of things for him, but we'll get to that later for me. But as this character, you can't put him in a scenario where he's not leading somebody or a team.
Right.
He's natural born for it. There's no way. When you think of Cyclops, you think up. In my head, it goes na for some reason.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I just see him running first before everybody else. So yeah, him as a leader is where he best fits in this whole scheme of things. I mean, not so much in the movies, but definitely in the comics.
They kind of
the movies are not doing justice at all.
No. It was Wolverine and the X-Men at that point. But that's a topic for another day. Maybe that's an After Dark.
I will say the last X-Men movie was at Dark Phoenix. Even though the movie was terrible, that was like the only time that Cyclops actually was decent in a movie.
Yeah, I thought so too. Especially, we're on a tangent now, but even with the whole Magneto thing, that's the one time that I was like, that is a badass right there.
Yeah, that was the only time they've done him justice in a movie.
Yeah. But that being said, with these scenarios being put into place for Cyclops, there are obviously some badass moments of this character. And Sal, you want to give us your top 3?
For something that does not work for this character.
The badass moments.
No, the badass.
Badass moments. Okay, I thought you said badass. It was my brain fried there for a minute.
It's okay. I had that problem if you didn't catch our "Do you know?" question of the day.
Control-Alt-Delete. Yeah, I knew
now.
that one before you did, man. I was like, oh, Jamie, take away your GL card. Anyhow,
sometimes.
Let's moving on. So for badass moments. Okay, so my first one I have is when they were, I think it was called the Extinction Agenda, and they were battling Cameron Hodge, and they being Cyclops and Havoc working together, and they were because they're brothers, and at the time, I'm not sure if they retconned this, but their powers kind of like charged the other one. So by both of them next to each other blasting their powers, they're actually charging the other one up to be more powerful. So they're blasting away, and they actually leveled a building on top of Cameron Hodge because he couldn't be killed due to his pact with a demon. So they leveled an entire building on top of him and said, he'll take a while to get out of that. And then my second thing is Jamie touched on. He stood up to Captain America in Avengers vs. X-Men and called him a fascist, but that was a pretty epic moment. And Emma Frost knew what was about to happen as it happened because I guess she was reading his mind. And she's like, oh, yeah, it's about to go down. And right then he blasted Captain America, And then, of course, I got an early one for him where he convinces the Sentinels to take themselves out because he convinces them that the all of life on Earth is a constant mutation. And so if you're going to protect human life, you've got to destroy the source of that, which is the sun. And they all flew into the sun. So I thought that was pretty cool. He outlogic the Sentinels.
That's awesome.
All right. What about you, Dan?
I have 3 completely different ones.
All
right. One, I'm going to go with Uncanny X-Men 175, where Cyclops has been away from the team, and Mastermind kind of does the thing with his wife, Madeline Pryor, which, the backstory, Madeline Pryor looked exactly like Jean Grey, then was revealed later to be a clone of her. But Mastermind started doing this thing where he was making the X-Men think that Dark Phoenix had come back, and then making them think that Cyclops was Dark Phoenix. So he has to battle the entire X-Men team himself. And at that point, the team was Wolverine, Storm, Shadowcat, Rogues, Nightcrawler, Colossus. Like it was a good team. It was a top lineup. And he managed to battle them and defeat all of them completely on his own. And again, it went back to his tactical skills of how he knew what all their strengths and weaknesses were and how best to combat them. The next one I'm going to go to is Astonishing X-Men 23, when they were fighting this alien race that were the ones that they had revealed that had, when Colossus had taken the legacy virus or the cure for it and killed himself to cure it all for all of mutants, that they brought him back and they were experimenting on him and they were trying to wipe out mutants. Cyclops knew that they wouldn't let him die because they needed information from him. So he lets himself just get sucked out into space on his own, knowing that knowing that they would revive him so they could get this information. And they think that he doesn't have any powers left. And then it turns out he's tricking them. He does. He blasts all of them and then just blasts this giant hole through their base. And then, with the telepathic connection he has through White Queen with everyone, just sits there and goes, an old Professor X quote, to me, my X-Men, as they're just getting ready to just lay waste to all these guys. And, you're reading the book and you're like, yes, that's awesome. Mm-hmm. And then my last one is also from Astonishing X-Men. It's from issue 8, when there's this Sentinel that it does have a lot of damage, but it's still a Sentinel. Just kind of pops up from somewhere and then goes and starts attacking the mansion. And Cyclops just basically goes outside after they're having a short battle with, and he's like, you know what, just enough of this. And he just unleashes this huge optic blast that levels the Sentinel completely. And he goes, I want this thing off my lawn, goes out, blasts the thing into oblivion.
Get off my front lawn.
Yeah. And then Wolverine and Colossus are both standing behind him after that, like, with this kind of look. And then Wolverine goes, every now and then, Summers, I remember why you're still in charge. And for a character like Wolverine, knowing that their history together, for a character like Wolverine to admit that, like, okay, I see why I listen to what you say. I mean, that's pretty badass. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. What do you got, Kev?
Well, I'm going to go with why Dan sucks, because you took 2 of my 3, you bastard.
I thought there was other reasons. I was like, please continue.
I mean, there's a lot of reasons that suck, but
number 3 is precisely Cyclops outmaneuvering the aliens in Astonishing X-Men number 23, and basically uses his optic blast to basically blast a hole through the entire ship, but also in the process uses it as a flare to, like, get everybody, okay, that's obviously Cyclops blast right there. We know where he is, we know what to do, and kind of like is like a uniting image for everybody. And with White Queen's connecting all of them psychically, having Psych go, to me, my X-Men. It's like, we've been waiting 50 years for that moment. I think pretty much everybody that's been a fan of the X-Men ever.
Yeah, it's just such a, like, and it's at the end of the issue, so you're just like, yes, like you can't wait to get the next issue.
Right, yes, about time. Number 2 is X Factor, Volume 1, number 68, where he takes out Apocalypse by himself. I mean, it's a psychic battlefield. He's kind of being connected to the Phoenix, through Jean Grey and all that and whatnot, but it's still, he's able to kill Apocalypse by himself. I mean, that is next level. And then number 1 is what you were saying, is Cyclops, like, having Mastermind, who is a master illusionist, making the entire X-Men think that Cyclops is Dark Phoenix. And we all know, Dark Phoenix is one of the most powerful entities. So they're like, we can't hold back. We have to take out, Jean. I don't care if she is our friend. And so they're basically not holding back, trying to take out Cyclops. And Jamie's amused all to hell.
I'm sorry. Dan's daughter is sitting there with the shield behind him, just going.
Sorry, yes, she loves playing with America shield.
I didn't see that. Oh my god! Yeah, Dan, she's your daughter. Oh yeah. And Cyclops systematically taking out every member of the X-Men, because he, as you said, Dan, he knows their strengths and their weaknesses. It's like, after all, I was the one that trained all of these dudes. I know what they're capable of. I studied them from their inception here into the X-Men to now. If anybody can take them out, it's Cyclops. And proving that is like, that is amazing. That was so next level. I was really impressed with all of that.
Good call.
So,
Good call.
Thank you.
So mine, actually, 2 of them have been taken already.
Oh wow!
Wow.
I had Killing Apocalypse and X Factor 68. I had Cyclops standing up to Captain America, AVX. My last one, and I do have an honorable mention too because I think it's a freaking hilarious every time. So I have all of the Phoenix Saga because that's the one place where he got beat emotionally, physically, in every department, and he still kept coming back to save the one person that he cared about. I just think that was probably one of those series that, you know, it still holds to this day on that aspect. But my honorable mention is every iteration of him and Wolverine getting into an argument.
Yeah.
Fair.
If you want to talk about badass moments, they just jab each other back and forth the entire time.
That is absolutely valid. That's always entertaining.
I always laugh at the one. I think it was in the movie when Wolverine stole his motorcycle, or was that the cartoon?
That was the movie.
The movie, yeah, where he looks at the motorcycle and he's like, and then the next scene you just see him riding away in it.
Yeah, and he's like, he is a dick.
that was like,
oh yeah, I love that scene in the first movie when he's like, whoa, it's Cyclops, like, how do I know it's you? He's like, you're a dick. And Cyclops, okay.
Got it. Understand.
There was that, and the other thing where it's like they're going through the metal detector, and Wolverine like beeps it, and they're like,
then he flips them off with understandable. But
that was the one. I enjoyed the movies, but I was never like all that big of a fan. But I thought the Wolverine Cyclops dynamic was the one thing that they got absolutely right in those.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did. But as always with these badass moments, there are some critiques, criticisms, and areas of this character that suck. I have my take on it, but we're going to start that off with Kevin.
All right. I'm going to unload here because there's a lot.
Get comfortable, people.
It's going to be a long show.
Like a now unboxing video now.
Yeah. Just for this segment.
They always make Cyclops make some really questionable decisions. Like, I don't care if he was kind of being influenced by Emma Frost. He would never make out with her in front of Jean Grey's grave. That just was like, okay, I any respect that I had for Cyclops, I lost right there. Making out with his new girlfriend in front of the love of his life's grave was like one of those moments I'm like, this guy is dead to me. There's no honor here. If he was being influenced by Emma Frost, maybe, but no, Cyclops has been trained in psychic resistance by Professor X himself. There's no way he would let himself be that vulnerable to actually succumb to that. He was married with a kid, and he was like, you got to come to New York, and we have a surprise for you. Jean Grey is back, and he abandons his wife and his kid and doesn't look back. Like, douche move. I mean, the killing Professor Xavier, I don't care if he was like, Phoenix Force being influenced by the Dark Phoenix or whatever. They always write him doing some things that are just seriously uncool. And then he's like with Jean Grey, one of the Marvel's, hottiest of hotties. And he's like, Dazzler is looking pretty fine.
She can sing to me any day.
Right. And
Psylocke too.
Psylocke was the other one. Like, Psylocke is looking pretty good. Emma Frost is looking, dude. Focus. You're supposed to, because of the whole glasses thing. You're supposed to be like, I am so in control of myself, except all the times that he's written where he's absolutely not. It's the decisions that they write him making that I think is just really, really just not making the character. I appreciate the fact that they're trying to make him, less than perfect, but they're making him so very far from perfect that, like, I have a hard time respecting anything about the character based upon the way they've written him with these aspects in the past.
All right.
What do you think, Sal?
I kind of agree with you on that. I think they've turned him into a real douchey type of character. But what I also think is he does a lot of too much self-brooding and seeing things so black and white that he can't even grasp anything outside of his vision, per se. So I think
I see what you did there.
Mm-hmm.
That's adorable.
Myopic.
Thank you.
He's very myopic.
Yeah. Don't forget to tip your waitress. Thank you. So yeah, I think they I don't know. They draw him or they make him so like a powerful leader, powerful character, and then there's been other issues where he just seems incredibly weak and naive and idiotic to me. So I'm not sure if that's more of the writer's fault, but that just does not fit the image or the ethic of the leader that I see Cyclops as. So, what about you, Dan? What do you have?
One thing I didn't like with the character, I didn't like when they made him a villain. I thought that was complete antithesis for what the character actually is. He's someone that has completely dedicated his life to Xavier's dream and to the X-Men, and for him to go so far over to the side of Magneto, I didn't really see that.
That was the period where he had the all red costume, right?
Yeah, I didn't like that costume either, with the X on the face.
That did not work.
I thought that was a cool design. I don't want to hear shit.
I thought it was a cool design, interesting
but
concept, but it wasn't executed very well, costume design wise. I don't think he's, I think he's had a lot of bad costumes since the one Jim Lee made for him in the 90s. Also, I know they've written it a lot in the comics that a lot of other characters perceive him to be boring, which I guess is, he can kind of be, but it goes to what we were saying earlier, is his entire life is wrapped up in being the leader of the X-Men or the X-Men or X Factor or whatever. And
being ultimately in control of himself.
Yeah, but he has so I don't think you could say somebody that's seen the stuff he's seen and done the stuff he's done is necessarily boring, but unlike some of the other characters, he has no life outside of it. Nightcrawler's very religious and a swashbuckler and oh, hello. And Colossus, is an artist, and Storm has got her thing, and even Jean to extent, and Beast, and all of them. But Cyclops really has nothing outside of being the leader of the X-Men.
He's a pirate.
Yeah. Yeah. So, what do you got, Jamie?
Okay, you guys ready for this? How do you have a leader that is the biggest crybaby in comics? I swear to God, every time Chris Claremont wrote him, there was a narration bubble of why he was sad about a tuna fish sandwich. There was it.
Well, there's a lot to be sad about.
No, there isn't.
Yeah.
He had a sandwich. He got it made for him. He didn't have to do anything, and he's still crying it tastes amazing. No, man. You are the leader of the X-Men. You take that thing like a champ and you move forward.
Come on, it was an emotional sandwich for him. All right.
I'm in a glass box of emotions right now, and I can't get out. It's like a mime that you just can't. It just makes no sense to me. He's always the leader. He's always got to be the guy with the plan. But then you'd see him in the next panel, and he's like, "Oh my God, Jean got blown up again." She's coming back.
Just give it a couple issues.
Yeah, give it 2-3 more issues, bro. I promise you, it's gonna be okay. I'll walk you through this. I'll tell you how your storyline progresses, because it's always copy and paste. So, but to me, it's okay, I could deal with the internal struggle thing because I relate to those kind of characters where it's the overthinking and the always down on yourself, but then you come back and you're just you feel like you're twice as good as you were before because you just got past it. He doesn't get past it. He continuously just goes, but my suit has a tear in it, and I can't make it today. That's how I feel every time I read him when he's not in the front lines of the X-Men.
Right.
or that X Factor, Excalibur, whatever X adjacent title there is. Like when he became a villain, I thought it was fantastic because I was like, finally, he's just gonna be a dick and not be like upsetty spaghetti the entire time. Like that, and that's where I was. Where that's what you got out of it, Dan.
Yeah.
But no, I do enjoy Cyclops. I just think that they make him too much of an emotional cluster to really evolve the character to where he should be. Like, yeah, make him have these problems, like inside, mentally, whatever. But then on the outside, make him like, how can I put it? Make him utilize that as a strength moving forward. But he's
like unsure of everything else except for when he's on the battlefield.
Yeah, that's it.
That's my point. I love the fact that like he is like, all right, I know what to do when I have something to do. When I have time on my hands, then I'm like, what do I do with myself? Right? I mean, yes.
I'm just gonna make out with my new girlfriend from my ex-girlfriend's grave now.
Yeah, he's definitely got some got some anxiety going on and some very unsure of himself and everything other than telling people where to shoot sentinels.
Yeah, like if your heart. If you're kind of like one of those like guys whose eye wanders like from different woman to woman, you might want to not date psychics that can know that you're like. Hey,
I always thought that was the biggest problem. Like if I'm waiting for like Jean to be like, "Can you stop being a whiny little and just can?" And he'd be like, "I didn't say anything." She's like, "You don't have to."
You know what? That's it. Screw this. I'm gonna go hang out with Logan.
I know exactly what you're thinking.
Honestly, a psychic wouldn't even need you won't need to be psychic to read all that.
It's kind of like
you can see that on my face.
It's almost like the relationship of Eric and Donna on that 70s show.
Yeah, I can see that.
Oh god. But guys, great reasons on why the character sucks. I have to agree. But with that being said, there are some awesome covers that come with Cyclops. But real fast, does anyone know where we could probably get these covers for a discounted price?
I think I might know.
Oh, Sal, you got your hand up like you know.
I do know. It's a place called Heroscornercomics. You can go online at heroscornercomics.com and check out their site. They've got back issues, they've got slabs, they've got special variants. They even set up pool lists. And if you buy anything through the website, if you use the code codex, CODEX, no hyphen, you'll save 20% on that order. Jamie, don't we have a commercial for that?
Yes, we do. So guys, stick around. Check this out right now. Oh, there we go. What's up, everyone? If you're anything like me, you love comics, but you also love a good deal. And our friends over at Heroes Corner Comics have just the deal for you. From exclusives to back issues, graded slabs, current issues, and even set up a subscription with them. And all you have to do is use the keyword CODEX at checkout. That's CODEX, and you will save 20% store-wide. So don't miss out. Oh, look. Dan just flipped back in the frame. But yeah.
My daughter just told me that she's bored.
Oh.
So I was trying to be like, come play with toys. She's like, no.
But yeah, go check out Heroes Corner Comics. It has great community, great bunch of people running it. If you need any idea of packaging, go check out Sal's epic unboxing that he did today over at Sal's Comic Corner. Definitely great. But let's get into some covers, shall we? And we are going to start off with Kevin.
Oh, hey. If you're going to mine, okay, so we got X-Men Origins Cyclops #1.
Oh, yeah.
It's just an iconic pose of Cyclops. Like, you just kind of get the feel for exactly how powerful that dude is. Like, I just picture him doing it at a moment of, like, being upset and not realizing that there's an airplane overhead.
And just going right through it.
Whoops. And then we got Phoenix Resurrection, the whole iconic scene of Jean Grey's powers growing to the point where she can actually be one of the only things other than the ruby quartz that can hold back Cyclops's optic blasts. That is just such an amazing, powerful moment right there. And that cover just kind of encompasses that whole that whole scenario, that whole scene right there. And you gotta go with Alex Ross. Anything he does is amazing. And the Alex Ross timeless variant of X. I probably should have figured out which one that is. Sal, do you remember what issue that is?
I have to look it up.
But the Alex Ross variant cover, timeless variant for X-Men with Cyclops on it, that is just the coolest interpretation of Cyclops I have ever seen right there. Alex Ross can do no wrong, and that's just such a cool, awesome picture of Cyclops in that one.
All right.
Definitely. Those are cool covers.
Dan, you are up.
So I went with, starting from the left, I went with X-Men 44. Just, it's awesome. You just see him, like, his eyes getting ready to power up and blast whoever he's going after, and just knocking everything else out of the way, even the logo where it's just getting torn apart, and you know that somebody is getting ready to get messed up. The middle one, it's from his 12-issue series. That was the one when his past teenage self came into the future when the X-Men came in. It's the variant cover of issue 2, and he spent the time reconnecting with his dad, Corsair, and just being a space pirate and kind of discovering himself. And I just think it's a really cool cover, the way the drawing is in black and white, and then you just see the red in his visor and the red in Corsair's headband. It just really pops.
I need a cool red headband like that.
I was going to call you out on that one in a minute there, Jamie.
I might have to make a call and see if she can get me one.
Oh, you got to go with the mustache that Corsair has.
Yeah, you got to go with the mustache too, there, man.
I can't pull the Fu Manchu. I'm sorry.
And then the final one is it's the iconic, X-Men #1 cover from the 90s when Jim Lee launched the book, and it was the biggest comic ever, and had all those. It had all the covers that fit together, but I think the one that's the most well known is the one here, the one with Cyclops and Wolverine and Iceman on it, and it's just it's the first appearance of the costume Jim Lee designed for him, and just such an awesome pose, and the optic blast, and it just really stands out. So those are my 3.
So now, got a question here. Did this costume come out before the 90s X-Men cartoon?
Yeah, the 90s X-Men cartoon were all based on the costume designs that Jim Lee did for the new X-Men books.
Nice.
So like Cyclops and Storm and Rogue and all of them.
Wasn't the costume they had before this the blue with the white X from X Factor?
That was X Factor, yeah.
Yes.
Well, the last costume he had in X Factor was the one where all the X Factor, all of them had the same costume, where it was blue with the big yellow X that on the chest that like went into the yellow gloves and the yellow boots.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Great picks. Sal, you are up.
All right. So first one I've got is the X-Men 201. This was the epic battle between Storm and Cyclops to see who was going to lead the team. And he loses, of course, because his mind and his heart are not into it. He wants to be with his family at the time because he was being an upstanding husband and good guy. So he loses and he leaves the team. The next one I have here is the Extinction Agenda, which I talked about earlier. And there's the white and blue costume that you were talking about, Kevin. So he's battling Havoc here because I think Havoc is brainwashed or what have you, and because he can cut loose on him because all it does is make Havoc more powerful and vice versa. So you see all the costumes ripping away. I think that was pretty awesome. And of course, I've got 176 where he's blasting the giant squid. This story was actually just a filler story with him and Madeline on the boat, and it had nothing to do really with anything going on at the time. It was just like a filler book, but it had such a badass cover. I had to include it.
That was a bizarre issue because I was expecting it to be like relevant to something else. Nope,
not at all. Sorry.
Like I said before the show started, this would be good to be displayed right next to that Ghost Rider book where he's fighting the shark.
Yeah, there you go.
It's like a connecting cover. All of them are just fighting aquatic creatures.
We'll just find all the books that have characters fighting giant creatures underwater who are not underwater characters.
And then have a picture of Aquaman at the end of it going, what?
You're not even part of our universe.
Everything's better. Downwards, wetter. Take it from me.
All right. Sorry, mine. So I got one of my favorites, X-Men 137. I just, after reading it for the first time and actually caring about the X-Men for the first time in my life, this was the one that drew me in, really.
Yeah.
Next up, I have from the next volume of the Uncanny X-Men is number 26. And I just think this is awesome. Just a bunch of different Cyclops is coming after him, and him in the middle just being like, yeah, I got to blast all of them. And then lastly, I've got Uncanny 391. I don't know why. This cover drew me in. Have no idea why. I'm a big fan of covers. Like, if anyone knows what I collect, especially with DC, I always get the B variants. This reminds me of that so much, but from back then that I was just like, yes.
It's kind of like somebody behind him says something he doesn't like, and he whips his head around. He's like, "The hell you say to me?"
Exactly.
You want to step up?
Yeah, it's a precursor to the fight.
Can I say to you, I believe this is the first time that none of us have had. There's been no overlap in covers.
And the funny thing is, there's only one overlap for recommended reading.
Wow.
That cover, that last cover, Jamie, you knew that was Cyclops reacting to something that Wolverine said.
Yes.
Yes.
Or something that I said that he didn't like. Like, what did Jamie just say about that?
Yep.
All right. So next up, we have, obviously, these covers are great, but inside are great pages, great writing, great art inside as well. So, Sal, why don't you kick us off with our essential readings, our recommended readings?
All right. So I have X-Men numbers 1 through 10. This is the 90s version. I thought that story and that art was just amazing. There's nothing really you could say much more about that. The connecting covers, the wraparound cover, just awesome. Next, I have Avengers versus X-Men. The whole storyline is 1 through 13. This was just a great story to begin with. So it like explodes from issue number 1 on. So I enjoyed that series immensely. And then of course I got a long one here for Uncanny X-Men 101 through 138 because this follows the Phoenix Saga into the Dark Phoenix Saga and ends with that. So that was because it shows a lot of emotional range for him, and I like this. I like that series a lot. I could never not read this story.
Great picks. So next up, we got Kev.
All right. For my sorry hinder, we got, and the rest will follow from X-Men Marvel Snapshots number 1. I'm not even going to get into that why. Just read it. Just read that one.
Just read it. Trust me. Just read it. That should be that shirt.
Yeah, that should be.
Shut up and just read it.
It should be our next t-shirt. Shut up and just read it.
Shut up. Just read it.
With the little upside down Nike swoosh.
Oh god. Let's see. And then Secret Empire Aftermath, Champions number 12. It gets into a deep delve into the motivations behind Scott's psyche, like why he is the way he is. It's not a whole lot of action. I mean, it's some, but it's more a deep delve into who Cyclops is as a person. And if you're kind of curious um, as to being interested in finding out why and who Cyclops is, and this was actually the teenage Cyclops that Beast brought back to the current time from the past, in order to snap the adult Cyclops out of his evil ways. I know it's convoluted. It's comic books. What do you want? And the last one is Messiah Complex, and that one I chose because it shows Cyclops, I think, at his best, where he is leading his own strike force against, and he outwits and outmaneuvers and beats the Marauders, the Reavers, the Purifiers, and the Acolytes, all one after the other. He just shows Cyclops being the ultimate leader and taking a team that's about at the same level as a lot of these guys that he's able to figure out how to beat, but just does it through his leadership. He just outmaneuvers these guys as opposed to outpowers them. And that's just like the ultimate Cyclops moment, I think. So Messiah Complex, number 1 for me.
All right.
Nice.
And Dan?
Like Kevin, I guess this is the one overlap. Like Kevin, I picked the Marvel Snapshots X-Men. It says X-Men, but it really should be Cyclops because it's his story. It's before he even joins the X-Men. Just briefly, it's him when he's in the orphanage after he's been separated from his brother, and he starts having headaches, which, you know, we kind of all know what that's going to lead to. And it's him, you know, you still see him kind of standing up for the little guy, for this other kid that's being bullied in the school, even though he's being bullied by people that could beat Scott. And, you know, him kind of, you know, put in a situation where he has to help people, and, you know, and it just shows him becoming the leader and the future guy that he will be in the X-Men. And it's cool too, because it fits an old Marvel, because it shows him like going to see Reed Richards giving a speech. And I think is it Reed Richards or Howard Stark? It's one of them. And, you know, it's just pretty cool the way it ties in with the old Marvel stuff. Then I got Astonishing X-Men 44 through 47. It's a story where there's a alternate reality where there was a big war between humans and mutants, and the mutants kind of dominated, and then the X-Men showed up on the scene. They beat the Magneto and the bad mutants, and then there's peace between humans and mutants. But as he was dying, Magneto screwed up the magnetic field on the Earth, and the planet itself started breaking apart, and Xavier, who is leading them at the X-Men, then a young one, and some of the scientists come up with this machine that will keep the world together, but it has to be powered by this mutant energy. So the mutants basically have to go in and sacrifice themselves to keep the machine running. And then so he starts abducting mutants from all these different realities. And, you know, it's a lot of different Cyclopses. And then this story picks up when it's the Cyclops that we're used to reading, and then a bunch of different other versions of different X characters. And it's cool seeing him, what the expectations are for all these other characters, for the Cyclopses from their worlds, and how he meets the expectations, but how he also does kind of his own thing on it too. And then the last thing I got is Cyclops 1 through 12. It's the series that like they said, is when Beast brought the original 5 X-Men to the future to try and convince Scott, who was a villain at the time, to change his ways. And this is when Cyclops went off on his own to hang out with his dad, Corsair, and the Starjammers in space. And it's really, it's a good series because it's, you get the father-son thing, but it's also him seeing what he became in the future and not liking it and kind of questioning it and wanting to become, not wanting to turn out that way and wanting to become someone different and kind of questioning how could that happen to me. And this was just a pretty good series that focused not on all 5 of the original X-Men, but really just on him.
Yeah.
Is that the one where they kind of started it off with Cyclops and Corsair, like having a camping trip, and he's like, "Well, just blast the fire, or he blasted the campfire to start it," and he's like, I would blow it apart. It's not heat.
Yeah, it's like it doesn't work that way.
Right. Yeah. Okay. That was that one. Right on.
Good try, but wrong.
You were shooting down.
All right. So for me, the first one I got is Nation X, and it's that crossover. This one is where Magneto comes back, and Scott's kind of on the side of him, like believing him, and you kind of get to see where Scott's head is, throughout. Next up, the Fall House of M. If you guys have not read any of this, I recommend it highly.
Okay.
One of the other X-Men, kind of titles that I did read. Definitely put that on your to-read list. And again, I don't know why, but every time I seem to have a Marvel character, Fear itself pops up somehow.
Yeah. That whole run was great.
Yeah, and I feel like this does justice for Scott himself throughout. So those would be my 3 picks.
Nice.
Awesome. Leave it to Jamie to do the different ones from the rest of us. Got it.
As always.
I mean, we all kind of have different ones, except for the one that me and Kev crossed over on.
Yeah. Exactly. So with that being said, though, everyone has their own mindset when it comes to writers and artists. And when they see a character, they automatically think of a writer and they automatically think of an artist for them. So who do you guys think is the best writer-artist combo for Cyclops? And we'll start off with Dan.
For me, it's kind of like it's kind of an easy one, I guess. For picking just about any X character, I would have to go with Chris Claremont. I mean, he defined the X-Men for decades. Even, the characters were around obviously before he took over the book with, the all new, all different X-Men. But the way he wrote all the new characters, but also, put his spin on all the existing characters through Uncanny X-Men and New Mutants and X Factor and the new X-Men book. Like, he really built the characters more, and especially Cyclops as being one of them with some of the stuff he put him through. So I would have to go with him as writer. And then for artist, you got to go with Jim Lee. He, it's a tough choice between John Byrne and Jim Lee, because I think those are the 2 iconic ones. But Jim Lee is just, he had the designs he did for them in the 90s, and especially that Cyclops outfit is just awesome. And like I think it was Sal said earlier, all of the, all the animated series designs were based on the stuff that Jim Lee designed for the 90s X-Men series. So I'm gonna have to go with those 2.
Yeah, that's fair.
All right, Kevin.
Chris Claremont was right there. I almost picked him as well, but at the last minute, I had to switch it off and go with Louise Simonson during her run in X Factor. That whole run was so much fun, and I got to give it up to the X Factor era Cyclops for my favorite writer of the character. And yeah, I kind of figured that you and I, Dan, would kind of be pretty close on things. And Jim Lee. Jim Lee's my favorite artist for Cyclops. He did such a great job. Not including the swimsuit issues of the early '90s, where you show Cyclops grilling with those oversized red goggles. It was pretty damn funny. But Louis Simonson and Jim Lee for me for artist writer. So what do you think?
I forgot about all those '90s comic swimsuits.
Yeah.
That was all weird
good stuff. All good stuff. And honestly, you guys have mentioned all my candidates that I had in here, and I'm still on the fence with a lot of them, but I did pick Claremont for best writer. Artist, it really boiled down to two for me. One being John Byrne, the other one being Dave Cockrum. So,
Dave Cockrum.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So
yeah, he was great.
It's really hard to choose between the two. So I'll go, since John Byrne's already been chosen, I'll go with Dave Cockrum. So
nice.
That's what I got.
All right. Well, for me, I have writer Scott Lobdell from the Astonishing series. I thought he did great writing this character, especially with it being Cyclops, and he kind of took away from that whole like, oh my god, tuna issue we had earlier. But for artists, I gotta go with Byrne on this one. I don't especially with the covers that he did, it just made him pop every single time.
That's fair.
I'll say, if anybody, as a side thing, is if anybody's interested, John Byrne for about a year or so was doing his own X-Men fan fiction on his website, and it's fantastic. It picks up right after he left the book, and he writes and draws it as basically as he would have, I guess, wanted it to go. And it's the best work that he has done, I think, in the past 20 years. And it's pretty cool, and it's got some cool Cyclops stuff in it too. So, and it's up for free on his website.
Can you
definitely go check that? I'll put the link down below.
There you go.
Nice.
In the description.
I think it's like Byrne Robotics.
But I think that's a great point to jump off of this one today. Guys, if you guys have any other different covers or recommended readings, please leave them in the comments down below. If you agree or disagree with our picks, let us know, and we'll be happy to trash you in the comments. Or at least that will be. Obviously, people like to put random things, and I usually just say random things back. So keep doing it. But as always, guys, I'm your host, JV. Guys, it's been awesome. This has been a great episode. It's good to have you back there, Cyclops Jr. I'm glad you're not crying over your squirt in the background.
Good to be back. That is sun-kissed. Thank you very much.
Same thing. But guys, if you had a chance, you definitely do go check out the codexation.com. Like I said, it's your one-stop shop for everything. And we will be having a limited run on a new shirt here soon. Can't wait for that to come out. Go check out Heroscornercomics. They are amazing. If you don't believe me, Sal has the 20-minute video on how amazing they truly are. So go check that out. But
if they have anything left after he bought it all.
Yeah. Right. Their inventory is shot. I just saw an update on Facebook, to be honest with you. No.
Honestly, I think
they don't have any more Venom books available.
No, zero.
I think if you want an example of strategic brilliance, you got to go with Sal, because he himself is single-handedly creating a demand for Venom by setting the market up just so he can sell it at a
Hey, I got to pay for my daughter's college somehow, so
Yeah, one way or another. We'll worry about that later, though. That's a future sale problem. But guys, as always, I just want to say thank you guys for watching. If you guys can like, share, subscribe, it helps out tremendously for the show. We're almost close to getting to 1,000 subscribers. We're working our way. I want to hit the 800 mark. We're almost there. It takes you guys to do that. It takes this great community that we built so far to keep moving forward. And that's what we do here at the Codex Station is we keep moving forward. But as always, be kind to one another out there. You never know what anyone's going through. Even making someone smile could change the course of their day or life, especially in this new year. With that being said, with me, as always, Slab Guy / Fairy, Venom Hoarder himself, Salro.
Guys, check me out on YouTube under Sal's Comic Corner and on Instagram, the Slab Guy 77. Thank you, Dan, for that.
And also, we got Dan, who is not in a closet today. He's next to a spinner rack in his basement, I'm assuming, unless that's a weird dungeon.
Yeah, you can check me out on Instagram at Dan Kelly Art. Search hashtag Dan Kelly Art. I post a few times a week, and I am also close to 500 subscribers. So when I hit that 500 mark, I'll pick a name at random and give that person a free commission with the character of their choice. So
Nice.
like, share, and subscribe. And then we got this cat right over here.
What's going on, guys? My name is Archduke Kebby. I created a group over on Facebook called Comic Character of the Day, where we post a different character, a different cover, anything funny, news, all goodies revolving around this geekery that we call our love of comic book collecting. We're almost at 500 members. When we get to that, we are going to be doing a giveaway for free swag that I think we're all thinking about contributing a little something to. So come on over, join up, and we can get that off to you as soon as we can announce a winner. And speaking of winners, Jamie, bring us on home, brother.
Winner, chicken dinner. I got nothing left to say, but I will see you with the rest of the team in the next one. Guys, have a great night.
Have a good night.
Much love. Peace.